First off, congratulations to the Denver Nuggets on winning the NBA championship for the first time in franchise history. At least now I can say that the Lakers lost to the best team. Aside from having the best player in the world, the Nuggets did an amazing job surrounding him with the right supporting pieces. The Nuggets built their team the way I firmly believe teams should build, which is through the draft. This actually all started before either Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray had anything to do with the Denver Nuggets. Although their GM is Calvin Booth now, and he deserves some credit for putting some complementary pieces around Nikola Jokic, previous GMs Masai Ujiri and Tim Connolly were really the architects here. The construction of this year's Denver Nuggets actually started in 2011 when Masai Ujiri was still the GM. You may remember when the Nuggets traded Carmelo Anthony to the New York Knicks in a blockbuster trade, right? Although they just traded their two best players at the time in Carmelo Anthony and Chauncey Billups, little did anyone know how big of a victory this would be for the Nuggets several years later. The next few years, the Nuggets saw 3 straight first-round exits, and it led to the firing of longtime coach George Karl and the departure of Masai Ujiri when he became the GM of the Toronto Raptors. The Nuggets replaced Masai Ujiri with Tim Connolly, and although the Nuggets had some bad years, Tim Connolly did an excellent job rebuilding the team through the draft. The Nuggets had the Knicks' 2014 first-round pick as well as their own first-round pick because both teams missed the playoffs that year, and a 2014 first-round pick was part of the package for Carmelo Anthony. Yet the first round was not where they hit their lottery. The Nuggets traded Doug McDermott after drafting him with the 11th overall pick, which turned out to be smart because he's only ever been average at best, and in return, they got a pretty good player in Gary Harris. It was actually the second round, during a Taco Bell commercial, when the Nuggets hit the lottery. This was when they drafted Nikola Jokic. If you're new here, here's a card for the video I made about Jokic up above. I'll also leave it in the end screen. Jokic would still stay in Serbia for a year before he made his NBA debut, and the Nuggets would go just 30-52 that year. The 2015-16 season would also be when the Nuggets hired Michael Malone as their new head coach. This was a fantastic hire, as we'll see later on, because he knows how to get the most out of his players by putting them in the best position to succeed. The next year, the Nuggets went just 33-49, but Nikola Jokic made the all-rookie first team while showing glimpses of the great player that he would become in the future. This is where the Carmelo Anthony trade that the Nuggets made with the Knicks in 2011 really kicks in, where it really became a big victory for the Denver Nuggets. With the 7th overall pick that the Nuggets received in this pick swap, they drafted Jamal Murray, who was scouted as a clutch performer at his age, a combo guard, and a guy who can play well off of the ball, all of which happen to be the things that he has brought to the Nuggets in their championship run. The Nuggets saw improvement in the 2016-17 season, going 40-42 with Nikola Jokic taking a big step forward. He saw more opportunities due to injuries to Kenneth Faried and Will Barton. As a result, he finished second to Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Most Improved Player award. Meanwhile, Jamal Murray made the all-rookie second team. The team improved its record in each of the last 2 seasons, and with the youth movement going on with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and even Gary Harris at the time, the future's starting to look bright. Although the Nuggets moved on from their leading scorer in Danilo Gallinari and their big offseason acquisition Paul Millsap suffered a career-altering wrist injury, the Nuggets still went 46-36 in the 2017-18 season. However, that still wasn't good enough to make the playoffs in the Western Conference, and that got the Nuggets the 14th overall pick in the draft. With the 14th overall pick, they drafted Michael Porter Jr., who only fell from the first pick due to injury concerns. He would in fact miss his first season due to a back injury. The Nuggets saw upside in him though, because he's a 6'10" wing player that can handle the ball and shoot. Despite not having Michael Porter Jr. available yet, the Nuggets would still make the playoffs in 2019 after winning 54 games and made it to the second round of the playoffs. In 2020, the Nuggets made their first conference finals since 2009 after coming back from 3-1 in both of the first 2 rounds before they succumbed to the eventual champion Lakers in 5 games. Although the Nuggets did not achieve the ultimate goal, this was the first flash of playoff Murray. He was dubbed Bubble Murray because while he was only a good player with fans in attendance, he went from averaging 18 points per game in the regular season to 26 in the playoffs while they were playing in the bubble with no fans in attendance. After that season, Calvin Booth was named the general manager, and he brought in a few more complementary pieces to surround Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. The Nuggets made a big midseason acquisition in 2021 by acquiring Aaron Gordon for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first-round pick. This trade was a heist for the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon was someone drafted well ahead of Jokic in 2014 with the 4th overall pick. He may have not panned out to be the guy that the Magic were hoping for as the 4th overall pick. However, he's a perfect fit with Nikola Jokic for how well he moves without the ball, and he's an excellent defender. Unlike in Orlando, the Nuggets had Aaron Gordon play more to his strength instead of asking him to do more than what he's capable of. He's become a great example of how you can still find success in the NBA even when labeled a draft bust if you're put in the right situation. Although the addition of Aaron Gordon was a big win for the Nuggets faced some serious adversity when Jamal Murray tore his ACL a couple weeks later, so their championship aspirations were set back a couple years. The Nuggets still managed to beat the Portland Trailblazers in the first round before getting swept by the Phoenix Suns. In 2022, with Jamal Murray missing the entire season and Michael Porter Jr. suiting up for just 9 games, the Nuggets had to take a step back before taking a big step forward. The Nuggets didn't do anything to improve their roster that year, but perhaps they knew the time to get serious about winning a championship would come a year later when Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are healthy. The Nuggets' biggest move was getting an aging veteran in Jeff Green. Although Nikola Jokic was able to win his 2nd straight MVP award in 2022, the Nuggets still fell from the 3rd seed in 2021 to the 6th seed in 2022 and lost to the Warriors in a gentleman's sweep in the first round. This led to some serious doubts that the Nuggets could win a championship with Nikola Jokic leading the way. The Nuggets knew that's not true, and they just needed the supporting cast to stay healthy and a couple more pieces to the puzzle, so they traded Will Barton and Monte Morris to the Washington Wizards for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They also signed Bruce Brown. Both these guys are really good 3-and-D players. The Nuggets also drafted Christian Braun with the 21st overall pick, and although he isn't a guy who will wow you with his stats, he became an important bench piece on this team by playing great defense and making hustle plays. Now, with these additions, along with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back healthy to surround the 2-time reigning MVP, they seem pretty legit, right? According to Basketball Reference, the Nuggets still only had the 9th highest odds to win the championship going into the season. The Nuggets won 53 games during the regular season, good enough for the 1st seed in the West. However, they still didn't get as much respect as they should have due to being just league average in defensive rating as a team and also having the fewest wins for a 1 seed in the West since 1984. The Nuggets weren't favored to beat the Suns or the Lakers despite being the number 1 seed because the Suns just added Kevin Durant and the Lakers had a huge second half resurgence due to a much needed personnel change. Yet the Nuggets still beat the Suns in 6 and swept the Lakers before beating the Heat in a gentleman's sweep in the finals. How did the Nuggets outperform their expectations? For one thing, they're a better defensive team than their regular season defensive rating will tell you. There are a lot of meaningless games in the regular season today, so the Nuggets definitely did not play on par with what their actual defensive capabilities are during the regular season. Why is that? Because nobody on the roster played all 82 games, and only one player out of the usual starting 5 even played 70 games. However, the core of this team has been together long enough to build good habits and chemistry. Nikola Jokic is also a guy who makes everyone around him better by taking great pride in getting his teammates involved, even when he's more than capable of creating his own shot. Jamal Murray has also leveled up his play in the postseason. He was only looked at as a good player in the regular season, but no one thought he could average 26 points per game for an entire playoff run under normal circumstances, with fans in attendance. Jamal Murray is a guy who steps up his game when the lights get bright. He's a very confident player who never seems rattled in big moments. Nikola Jokic has continued to prove what a bad argument it is to say that the NBA is so much better today because the guys are way more athletic, yet he's the first center since Shaq to win a championship as the best player on his team and the first player in NBA Finals history to put up a stat line of 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists in a game while not even being able to outrun or outjump even the average player in in any era. For the whole series, he averaged 30 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, and almost a steal per game. The Miami Heat play more zone defense than the average NBA team, but the Nuggets are just not a team that zone defense can really be effective against. This is because Nikola Jokic is such an elite passer. The Nuggets have guys who can move really well without the ball, and their two best players can score from anywhere. Even when the Heat aren't going zone, the Nuggets just have a huge size advantage. The Nuggets also proved that even with the amount of uncontested rebounds that there are in today's NBA, rebounding still matters. They out-rebounded every single one of their opponents in the playoffs. This is a little ironic because Pat Riley has been the architect of the Heat culture for almost 3 decades. Pat Riley once famously said, "No rebounds, no rings." What Pat Riley said is still true though. Nikola Jokic is obviously the main reason for the Nuggets winning the rebounding battle against their opponents, but Michael Porter Jr. has contributed to that as well. Even as horribly as Michael Porter Jr. shot the ball in the finals, he still found another way to contribute by being their second leading rebounder during the finals. This probably wasn't expected because the Nuggets were below average in rebounds during the regular season, but they sure picked a really good time to out-rebound everyone they faced. Ideally, you want to build the core of your team through the draft. This is how the Warriors built their dynasty, the Spurs won their 5 championships with their core players being homegrown, and how the Bucks won their championship with the guy they drafted leading the way. Now here we are seeing the Nuggets with 3 of their 5 starters being homegrown. There may be exceptions to this, like the 2008 Celtics and all 4 of LeBron's championship teams. However, even the Big 3 Heat, Big 3 Celtics, and the 2016 Cavaliers had one homegrown star. We've also seen attempts at building a super team blow up in their faces. As a Lakers fan, I'd rather not talk about that, but I know from having seen it with my own team more than once, it's best to build your core through the draft and use free agency and trades to get complementary pieces that fit well with the playstyle of your star players. Trading your franchise player can also be what's best for your team in the long run if that guy isn't winning you a championship. It can take many years to get there, but it can pay off in the end. The Carmelo Anthony trade with the Knicks proved that even though no one in that trade was part of this championship run. Nevertheless, that trade started the process that eventually led to getting the Nuggets the team they have now. It's a great time in sports for Serbia, as not only did Nikola Jokic win Finals MVP, Novak Djokovic won a record-breaking 23rd Grand Slam in the French Open. For me, I'm just glad I can say the Lakers lost to the best team. That's where I'll wrap this up, so if you did enjoy this video, a like would be much appreciated. To make sure you never miss another video, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Links to my social media are down below. As always, please let me know what you think in the comments below. Love to have a discussion with you. Here's the video on Nikola Jokic that I mentioned earlier and the video that YouTube recommends. So thank you so much for watching, peace, and congratulations to the Denver Nuggets.